Today I'm going to show you how you can install one of these deployant clasps onto your leather strap. So for this I have a 20mm Datejust over here. I have our spring bar tool here. This has a spring bar tool on one side and a pin tool on the other. You're only going to need the pin tool for this because our leather straps come with quick release spring bars for easy installation. This is how our leather straps come. I believe this is the Merlot Chrome Excel, one of our most popular straps in 20mm. And these come with brushed buckles. And I think these buckles are really nice. I like these quite a bit. Nice and robust. They look good with a lot of different watches. But sometimes you may want to use a deployant clasp. I recommend these for a few reasons. I know they look pretty complex and sometimes people can be too intimidated to try and use them, but it's really simple and it will do a few things for your watch. First of all, when you wear a leather strap and you thread it like this on your wrist and you put that pin in, over time that is going to create a lot of, it's creating a lot of pressure on that pinhole right there. And if you have ever seen a leather strap that's been used for many years, you'll see that it's got a lot of tear out right here. It starts to pull, that hole gets bigger and bigger. Lower quality straps, it starts to peel there and stuff like that. And so there's just a lot of pressure there. The deployant clasp, which you'll see after we install it, has this kind of clamshell clasp system here, and it has this pin, and that is designed to go into one of those holes. And so the way that sits, it doesn't create that same pull and tension over time. So it can increase the life of your leather strap. The other thing that it can do is it can help kind of center the watch on your wrist. It's really hard to describe, but once you get it on the wrist, you kind of know if you wear a leather strap, it has a tendency, the watch has a tendency to rotate. But wearing a deployant can kind of keep it centered on your wrist. And then lastly, and this is why a lot of people like these, is that they're very, very convenient. You know, with a leather strap, if you're having to pull this back, which also creates wear and tear, and unbuckle it. It takes a little while to get it on and off the wrist, and like I said, it wears the strap down. This is a clasp system, so you have just these two buttons here and here, and you can easily pop this on and off the wrist, and it just helps it really to act much more like a bracelet. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to get our pin tool from here, and let me unstrap this. And you are going to start by just removing the hardware over here. So there is a spring that holds the buckle in there. So you'll take your pin tool, pop that spring out, and you should have the buckle. You're also going to have this middle pin. You can push the spring bar out with your pin tool, and you will pull that center pin out. We will not need these anymore, so put these in a baggie and keep them for later. And so then what you'll do is you will have this face up like this, so where you can see the logo. Make sure it's open and everything's laid out, and then you can see you're just going to slide this on like this, but not like that, sorry. You're going to put the spring bar back into the strap up here like that, and you're going to then fit it here. And then maybe I spoke too soon, because this is where your spring bar tool would actually come in handy, so that you can fit this onto the clasp. There we go. As always, you will just want to use a loop, or just make sure that you can see that that spring bar is seated really nicely there. Give it a little tug just to make sure, and you're good to go. So that's really it. And now it just comes to fitting this to the watch. So this would be the 12 o'clock side. So like I said before, with the quick release spring bars, it's very, very easy to install these. Again, you're just gonna wanna make sure that they are installed on the clasp. Installed on the watch, and that the spring bar is fully engaged. You just heard that. Give that a little tug and switch it over. And do the same on this side. All right, there we go. So just make sure those are fully seated, and now the strap is on the watch, and you have the clasp up here. Okay, so then you should only have to ever do this one time unless you need to adjust for temperature later, but you're just going to flip the watch around, open up this clasp here, and you're going to thread the tail end of the strap onto the clasp. And you're gonna go, it might take some trial and error. I'm gonna go to the 1, 2, 3, 4th position, and then you will just snap that closed. And then it should look like this. Oh, let me center that. Then it should look like this. And so you can see that it's now this butterfly clasp, and then you can test your fit. So let's throw this on the wrist, and you just fold that clasp up just like that. Perfect. And then you can thread that extra part of the tail. There you go. And you have your deployant. And anytime you need to take this off, all you do is you press these 2 buttons, pops off just like that, and you are set.